The first time you come up against a Hammond organ, what do you do? Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of videos here around the first time you come up to a Hammond organ. Let's say you've seen one in a shop, someone's showing you one on a stage, you've been lent one, you've got to do a recording session with one, or you're depping with somebody else's, or you just want to walk up to some Hammond organ and get working straight away and understand how it works. I did a gig recently, I mentioned it the other week, with a Nord Electra 6D that was provided for me. And I should have paid a bit more attention when I reviewed it a few months before. But I was really struggled to get the sound I want and the tone I want, and at one point I managed to change the sound entirely and couldn't get it back. The patch was detuned, but not the global detune, not the transpose, and so it was all confusing. So I thought, what I do today, you may very well have a situation in your life as a keyboard player where there is a Hammond organ or a Hammond clone, and I'll show you that too, and you're going to have to walk up and look like you know what you're doing with it, and you don't necessarily know what you're doing. If you're a piano player or a synth player, some of this might be new to you. It might not, but it could be. So what I want to show you today is how to walk up to it, get a sound out of it, get the most out of it that you can. Look cool, sound cool. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? Superb. Right. Okay, we'll start off with the C3. And in the corner of the screen, I'll put the new Hammond XK-5. And I shall do another video later on where I'll swap them around the other way. So you can see the similarities, because they are, one is made from the other, quite, you know, I was going to say literally, it's not literally, is it? But you know, the heritage is there, and you'll see the through line as we go along. But more on that later. So you've walked up to this massive piece of wood, and someone said, you're an organ player, aren't you? Well, I play a bit, play an organ sound on the keyboard or whatever. Well, could you do a track for me? So here's the Hammond. Right, now it's switched on, but I'll show you how to switch it on. It's quite important. You push the start button here and you hold it back. You hold it down and you'll feel cogs actually spinning, and they'll get louder and louder and louder until the speed is constant. With your finger pushing the start button, you push the next button, the run next to it, so they're both pushed forward. 7 seconds, and then let go. And the start button will pop back and the run button will stay up, as you can see here. Okay? Then you'll have a whirring noise. Not that whirring noise. That's the neighbour doing some drilling, I think. A different whirring noise. Let's see how that pans out for us, shall we? So, here's an organ. You've got all these things down here. All these buttons everywhere. What on earth do they do? Well, the first thing to do is to get a note out of it. And what we'll do is we'll come to this side here, where these black keys are, because this is important, because if someone has pressed that C there, you'll see none of these buttons are down. And if none of these buttons are down, you're not going to get any noise. Buttons from here to here, D flat to B flat to A, will have presets in them. Not always, but usually have presets in them. So there'll be some noise. And they won't always be the same. So my advice is ignore that. Cancel, C for cancel, and then B, right? And then B, or A flat, but I'll come to that later. What the B does, there'll still be no noise, okay? But that will allow this set of drawbars to help you make noise. And the B flat will allow this set of drawbars to help you make noise, okay? And the B down here, this set, and the B flat, that set, okay? B flat, B, B flat, B. Those are foot pedals. Let's not worry about those for the moment. Right. General principle. You pull out these things, noise happens. Superb. Now, these two black ones here are the foundations. They've actually got the root note, right? There's a Hammond organ sounds made out of lots of little tones all put together, but this actually has the root note. Little quick demonstration. Here's a C. That's not C, is it? Can you hear it all moving along? Isn't that odd? Right, so you need to, there are a couple that are a C. And no problem. And there are some, but via the magic of Lawrence Hammond, all of a sudden when you pull those out, you'll get a note. But if you pull out all of those and start playing, there's no root in that, so it might sound a bit weird. So you walk up to the organ, you press your B. I would pull out, let's say, 4 of those, and they're called 888. There's a little number on them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pull all those out, I reckon, and then you've got a note. Superb. Now imagine that's a graphic equalizer. That's all you need to do, or a parametric. The graphic's probably better because you're the Fletcher-Munson smiley curve thing. So the more you pull out to the right, the more bright the sound's going to be. All right. So, example. Can you hear that? Can you hear the difference? Right. Can you hear that? So, basically, drawbars. You've now made a sound. There we go. And you can do like a curve like that if you want to. Quite nice, isn't it? Take those down a little bit. Now, just quickly down here, guess what? Same thing. B, B flat. So B up here. This is going to be, this is an identical set, right? No difference. There should be no difference. If you did 4 and 4, that is the same. Sound generation's the same and everything. We have them for a few reasons. You could be doing comping or stuff at the background, you know, different, or you can have a bright sound up here. Play a bit of bass line. Something like that if you want to. Or you could play rhythm on here and lead on there. So you push these in because these are all volume knobs as well. So the further out they go, the louder they are. So you could be playing down here somewhere. And you could be soloing up here. So you have rhythm and lead if you want to. But then you've got 2 sets as well. Now these don't play at the same time. Okay, example, if you're on C here, I'm just going to play those 4 drawbars flat out. And if I go to B flat, it's going to play the bottom 3 flat out. So this allows you to change settings if you want to. If you're playing up here from a... But you don't have to complicate yourself with this. You don't have to. You can just keep those in. We're on B, B. You've got 2 identical sets of keyboards. And then what I do is I have those in a little bit less and I do more comping stuff at the back. And up here is where I do more of my lead stuff. Okay. So, drawbars, getting a sound. You've walked up and you've got a sound. That's superb. Let's go from the left to the right to show you a couple of other bits that you can do. Okay, we have volume, soft and normal. Beautiful. We know what that's going to do, don't we? Some people use it for rhythm and lead. I think it's a little bit too much of a boost. If you're running through some stuff with the rest of the band and just sort of tapping along to get the rhythm right or get the notes right. That's a volume boost, that's lovely. Now, you've got these 2 buttons and this weird knob over here. So, this one, this button refers to the top manual and not the bottom manual. This one refers to the bottom manual, not the top. So you've got top, bottom, basically. And in here, on this knob here, you've got vibrato and chorus sounds. That's not Leslie sounds. We're going to get onto that in a bit. Your Hammond may be connected to a Leslie. It may be connected to something called a PR40 or a PR range, which is a stationary speaker, just like a normal amplifier, or it may be DI. This is connected to a Leslie we could talk about that another time. And this little Leslie knob here, we'll briefly mention. So all you need to know, quite simple, when it's flicked on, it's on, and the vibrato changes and the chorus changes depending on how you do turn this knob. And they alternate between vibrato and chorus, C1, C2, C3, V1, V2, V3. And on here you can see from this 1960 Hammond, you can barely see it anymore. From my point of view, the vibrato I don't get on with very well. Although I've just had the vibrato scanner reset and it's absolutely fantastic, I have to say. The chorus I do get on well with. V2, C2, V3. Alright, but I mean, you know, and then the C3 is the one I like. It has a certain sound. You don't have to mess with it if you don't want to. If you don't have a Leslie, it's a way, isn't it, of putting a bit of movement in there, maybe. Okay, so you don't need to use those, but if you want to get certain sounds or particular solos, you can have a mess with those. But if you've just walked up to the organ, don't worry about that, you've got the sound. Right, we've done the drawbars, we've moved along, haven't we? Percussion. Percussion is a high-pitched clicking noise at the front of the sound, and then it goes away. And it goes away, the pitch and the speed it goes away can all be adjusted over here. Things to note. When I said get yourself a sound on the B on this set of drawbars here, I did it for a reason. Not that set, this set. These 4 buttons only work with this set. Let me explain. All the sounds are off, there's no sound. Put the percussion on. That's the sound that's being added on the front of everything. Go to B flat here. No, nothing. What about down here? Doesn't help. Nothing. So percussion only works top drawbar on the B on a Hammond C3, right? Okay, so what can you do? Well, you can switch it on. And there it is. And the noise goes away. You can make it softer. You can make it decay faster. And you can change the pitch. Okay, there you go. All of that goes on top of this sound. All right, so the classic sound you've got, say you've got a bit of a bluesy sound. Put that on. Hear that click on the front? It's quite tasty, isn't it? Very nice. Now you can make it softer. You can hardly hear it there. And actually in the guts of the Hammond, there's a little, you need a screwdriver and you can mess around a little bit with how loud that is, but you kind of set it for what you want it to. Okay, so let's keep it on loud so you can hear it. Now the decay is going to go fast when I press this button. Here it's just gone. Now let's change the pitch. Isn't that weird? It's a third, isn't it? Shouldn't work, but it does. You know? And then four up, that phrase. All of that, quite a nice sound. And let me tell you something else. This top drawbar here makes a noise. But the percussion uses, I believe, that tone wheel to make its percussion sound. So when you switch it on, that's gone. Doesn't do anything. See that? So bear that in mind. It's not broken, but when you've got the percussion on, kind of dulls a little bit because that top drawbar's not in effect. That's all you need to know. Okay, we're getting there now, aren't we? We're getting the everything you basically need to know business. What's missing? Well, there are a few things missing. Let's go with Leslie. You might find a little switch like this. Helpfully, it'll say the word Leslie on it. Usually it does. But these are Bakelite devices, basically old plastic device. They're light switches, essentially. 1 or 2 or 3 position light switches, depending on the type of Leslie you've got. And there might be 2, because you have a Leslie switch that might be doing the reverb and what have you. So watch out for that. But if there's 1, choral and tremolo. Well, it's C3, church 3, right? So here we have. I'll discuss this bit in a minute. This is a little bit sort of distracting because it's an overdrivey sound, right? But bear with me on that one. So listen to the sound. So that's that vibrato sound. That's the classic vibrato sound. I mean, in a way, that's the classic vibrato sound. But Don Leslie attached his Leslies to Lawrence Hammond's keyboards, much to Lawrence Hammond's disgust. And this is the sound. So that rise, they call it, as the sound goes from slow to fast vibrato. That's the rise up and the break as it comes down. And the vibrato is actually a speaker on a center pole with a counterweight, and the vibrato you're hearing is the Doppler effect of the sound going towards and away from you, roughly speaking. The Leslie's got 2 speakers in it, 1 spins that way, 1 spins that way, generally speaking. So you're hearing that right. Now that may be a slow fast switch here, like this one is cool. Sometimes in this end cheek there'll be effects, or there'll be a button. It could be a button. Some of the touring equipment has the button there, so when this case comes over, as you'll see, I can move this case. Look at that. We can close it down, right? So when this case comes over and you pack it away to tour, this is not proud. It's not sticking outside. So sometimes they put a button there. These things get modified over the years. Tone wheels break. Tone wheels are the things that generate the sound. There are 96 of them in there, and it's all analog, DC, spinning around, what have you. Sometimes they break, and you can get replacements. So there'll be little PCB, printed circuit board replacements. Sometimes a Leslie will have the percussion would be broken, Hammond, sorry, or the Hammond might be quite old and didn't have a percussion, and these things will be down here, usually with some product like Trek 2 or something like that. There could be a volume knob here for a reverb spring, so you can think, well, what's that do? Turn it, you'll see it could be master volume and reverb. The volume, generally speaking, on an unfettered Hammond is on a foot pedal down the bottom here. And I have something over here which has got a volume pedal, and it's an overdrive. In, out. Check some of my other videos on that. Talk to me on Patreon if you're interested about how that works. Nick Foley UK. So I have an overdrive there as well. So don't worry about that too. That may not be there. That may or may not be there. I deliberately whizzed along today to get you introduced to this. So now I think you could walk up to a Hammond and have a great old time. So here we are walking up. Hi, how are you doing? You okay? Oh, you see, you got me an organ. Thank you very much. Right. Well, I'll cancel it. I'll set it to B. I'll pull 4 of those out. Foot pedal down. Pull those out. We're in. Well, you want it a bit brighter? Yeah, no problem. I'll use the graphic equalizer idea and just make it brighter. A bit more percussive. Yeah, absolutely. I'll stick a little bit on the top there. Can make it decay a little bit if you want to. A bit softer, okay. Oh, what's that spinny thing? Oh, yeah, that's okay. It's on slow at the moment. There's your little hairs. That look. can't locate a fast, slow button, no worries, we'll do the vibrato swell on C3 or a V1. And you'll get away with that. So I hope that was useful. I'm now going to go and do another video where I explain that all on the brand new Hammond XK-5. Now this is something that you could get hired in if you're doing gigs abroad. More and more so doing gigs abroad, the equipment's hired in rather than freighting it around Europe or the world or whatever. So you might find yourself with a Hammond XK-5 or the Hammond XK series. So let me show you how to do that. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm glad you stayed to the end. There'll be some Easter eggs somewhere, no doubt. Watch out for those. If you've enjoyed it, then please say hi and say thank you and say don't do it again or do some more of it or whatever. If you haven't enjoyed it, please say hi and say how dare you and I never want to see you again. That's also fine. And also on my Patreon, Nick Foley UK, there's extra little bits. So if you want to buy me a cup of coffee and say thank you, you're very welcome to. If you want to carry on and consume this content for absolutely free, you are very welcome to too, with my blessing. So just have a lovely day and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Do that properly. 1, 2.